Hi, Jesse. I enjoyed your thought-provoking visual essay on the Vietnam Memorial and the whole question of the extent to which it is or is not a nationalist memorial. Clearly, it's different from the Olympian sort of white granite uplifting sites that are all over the mall, including the Lincoln Memorial and, of course, the Washington Monument. So, on the one hand, as you suggest, there's clearly an attempt to sort of by those photographs uh, to reimpose an ideological frame through the composition of the image to sort of argue that the Vietnam Memorial can be sort of played, or the dead of the American dead from the war can be sort of resubsumed within a standard nationalist logic of death and regeneration, so that we sort of people die in the service of the country and are reborn through the sign of the founder, even the phallic sign of the founder of the nation. That's one reading. But of course, meaning keeps on breaking down at the Vietnam Memorial, and there's a sense, I think you're absolutely right, that it was initially conceived largely as a counter memorial, and it at least encountered distinction to standard memorials, and that it never quite can be caught up within any standard nationalist redemptive frame. It doesn't sink beneath the ground and disappear, but the very fact that it is partially underground was very disturbing to the early right-wing critics who felt that it actually signaled the shame of the war, which of course is one of the reasons that it's so powerful, even though of course it's always often used in a way that is restorative of a nationalist or even militarist set of projects. So it remains a contested space in interesting ways. I also thought that the uh, ultimately nationalist purpose, though, of the memorial is signaled by the clear absence, for all the 50,000 plus Americans who are signaled, whose names are written there. There are, of course, hundreds of thousands, really millions, of Vietnamese who died as a result of, or in the course of the conflict, in ways often that were at the hands of U.S. military operations, many would argue. Uh, and they're entirely absent. There's nothing about the Vietnamese themselves there. So in that sense, uh, for all of the counter-memorial dimensions of it, it still is solely about American loss and not uh, signaling the way that some of the German sites have tried to signal an acknowledgement of loss on all sides of the conflict, raising ultimately or directly ethical questions about the purpose and conduct of the war. That has not yet happened. And of course, there's then this attempt to really impose a sort of a nationalist and somebody would argue fascist frame over the whole memorial practice by placing directly in between the Washington Memorial and the Vietnam Memorial the World War II Memorial, which really does, many would argue, harken back to the sort of worst excesses of nationalist and fascist architecture in the in Germany before and during the war. So many ironies to contemplate here, but a really provocative essay, very nice use of image and sound, image and narration. Thanks.